friends, and welcome to Talking About How. Today is a new day. A new day has dawned, and I'm still alive, like a lot of you. Some of you may have died, but most of you hopefully are still alive. And if you're still alive like me, then you're going to be asking the big questions. What's most important of all things? Well, I guess you could say love is most important or something like that if you want to be all mushy. But really the answer is music. Music matters most. Music is the best medium, the most important medium, the most magical medium. Music has the most replayability of any kind of art. Music has the most power to move you and often moves the hell out of me. I mean, sure, TV shows, movies, stories, etc., narratives are very powerful. I'm not disputing the power of narrative at all. But music is absolutely magical in a way that nothing else is that I've ever encountered. It's the ultimate way to is the meaning of life music? No, but music matters most. It's like music's the best way to understand anything about the meaning of life. Music's the best way to, certainly for me, is the only way I can ever achieve like transcendence of self, you know? The only way I can really transcend the self is to make music. If it's good enough, then that thing I make becomes an entity in and of itself entirely separate from me. And people have their own relationship with that entity. And the fact that I made it is incidental, but nice for me, but doesn't matter at all, right? It doesn't tell you anything about me. It doesn't tell you anything about any future music I'm going to make, any past music I'm going to make. It just tells you that somebody hit on a moment where everything came together. And this length of time that goes into your ears is astonishing. You made a correction with your theory that NI users make the best melodies. That's not my theory. I will say that successfully accomplishing a true melody requires the use of NI. But it doesn't necessarily mean that NI users make the best melodies. Because we can all access our NI. Fate Wind, that's insane. We know that's insane. FI had nothing to do with melody. That's absolutely insane. If FI had to do anything with melody, how would I be able to come up with so much catchy shit as Polar FI? Very rarely is my music motivated by feelings. Sometimes it is. Like, I forgot, song My Share of Shame was motivated somewhat by feelings. I was motivated to intuit because of my feelings. But it's absolutely not the case that FI is related to melody. FI is the thing that stops you from being objective about your own shit. And so you think your own melody is good because you want it to be. That's why I have such an advantage in music making over people who are FI. Is I'm not, no, FI and TI do not both cut out contradictions. FI is very comfortable with contradictions. In fact, FI is how to deliberate in a contradiction tolerant environment. Yeah, probably once in small. FI says this. FI says, I know what I want to be so very clearly. And when people like ENFPs have a tendency to be very indulgent in their own particularism. They think that whatever it is they're doing is great because it's authentic, and they're not paying any attention to the universalism of it. Well, you can disagree all you want, but we can both agree for sure that there's no chance that FI is required to make good melodies, because otherwise ENTPs wouldn't be able to do it. Neither would ESTPs, but the point is, it's got to be an intuitive thing. It can't be a feelings thing, because remember, introverted feelings is your interested calculus, what you want to be, not what is. It's the ultimate in particularism. You know, your FI-SI users are the ultimate particularists, which is why they very rarely, even if they make something really good, it's a one-off. It's like they can't repeat it, and they're self-indulgent. You know, take a look at Fiona Apple's new album. TI cuts out the contradictions, absolutely. I didn't disagree with that. I said FI doesn't cut out contradictions. FI is how to deliberate in a contradiction-tolerant environment. TI is how to deliberate in a contradiction-rejection environment. Sure, TI is about contradictions, but FI is not. You said they were both. FI is about reconciling the fact that you can't get exactly what you want. So you have clarity about what you want more than what other things you want, and how to get both things you want, even if it seems like you're having your cake and eating it too. That's what FI is all about. It's about dealing with the realities that aren't reducible to binaries that can be exclusive of one another. Now, music matters most because it's the most universally communicative. It's magic. It's magic. You know, I'm partly inspired to make this video by this song I discovered the other day and I've been listening to, called "A Good Song Never Dies" by this band called Saint Motel, perhaps. Let me put a link to it. I think the lyrics of it are very revelatory. Or let me pull up the lyrics to it too. Because a good song never dies. It just reminds. No. Stop now. Let's begin. You're in too deep to go back again. Catch, it's pay to play. You want more hits than eliminated. No, you don't own me. You don't even know me. Who this vagabond with a two-pop back to the great beyond? How? Say genuine, a ground floor up. I can help you find. Oh, you're a dreamer. Call me when you're a Bieber. And when they play it, you can't help but sing along. That's nothing odd. That's nothing wrong, because a good song never dies. It just reminds you of where you were the first time it made you cry, the first time you felt alive. No, a good song never dies. Like this. Fear, it's all around, but it weighs too much to slow you down. Now's the time to act, because the best defense is a timeless track. No, you don't own me. You don't even know me. Whatever. I don't know about that part. But the point is, music. Here's another good link on music that I want to show people. Fucking gardeners. All right, so check out this if you can. It's from a movie about Beethoven, and Beethoven's explaining to this other guy in the movie what music is. Beethoven asks the other guy, "What is music?" And the other guy says, "It's exaltation of the soul or something." And Beethoven's like, "No. That thing right there is very powerful." I think what the lyrics in that song were saying is that when people identify with a song, a lot of times they assume they know the person who made it, because the song is that effective, you know? If depending on what the song is doing, if the song's a revelation of personal stuff, uh, no, look, bad classical music is very NENTI. You are correct, Fate Wind. Bad classical music is that. In other words, if you lack intuition and try to make classical music, if you lack the right kind of intuition to do it properly, or you're misguided as to what doing it properly looks like, you will make bad classical music with extroverted intuition and introverted thinking. Well, because the thing is, remember, what makes something pop is a compilation of multiple factors, each of which have to be just so. And then if it all goes together right, just pow, then it works. Anything short of that is failure. And there's varying degrees of failure. You can fail utterly or just miss. But the point is, the beautiful thing about music is it's very clear. It's very straightforward. Something is either magic or it fails. And that's it. There's nothing else to it. Eek, the first song is much, much better. What do you mean? The first song of what? The link I put there is to a Beethoven, a clip from a movie about Beethoven. Well, I mean, Fate Wind, I'm not sure I agree with you there. Now, granted, look, ENTPs do have the capacity, especially ENTPs, some INTPs very rarely, can metacognate around it, like I have. I understand that I'm chasing an I, and I understand well enough to reject my extroverted intuition in favor of introverted intuition. I've learned some heuristics I can apply. When something sounds familiar, but you are not, you can't say what it is exactly, those are the kind of things you want to keep, not toss. Extroverted intuition wants to toss that, wants novelty all the time. When you've got something that's really powerful, don't make fucking silly, goofy lyrics to it, Eric. Use the power of the music you have. Don't just throw whatever words over the top of it. Make sure it's good. Make sure it's right. Make sure it hits. You're wasting your time otherwise. These are the sort of things I tell myself all the time. I have to tell myself this all the time because I understand the risks of extroverted intuition. You stand the serious risk, if you're an extroverted intuitor, of doing something like the Dave Matthews Band. At that point, you're just you're a cancer on the world. I mean, that's the thing about magic. If you're powerfully magic and your magic is evil, like Dave Matthews Band, then that's very, very wicked. Now, people are what make good music, Fate Wind. When they make music successfully, it's because it resonates with NI. Whether they got there via attending via NI or just happened, stumbled into it, those are different questions. But make sure you understand this. The best music always, always, always resonates with NI and FE above everything else. Now, it is true that sometimes the best FE can be very authentic FI. So if it's an NI FI song, it may be incredibly powerful. But remember, that's because it resonates universally and is communicatively effective. It succeeds on NI and FE value metrics. So the best way to put it is all good successful music resonates wholly on NI and FE. Did the person use NI or FE to get there? Not necessarily. But they've succeeded on those metrics regardless. Well, first of all, to the extent that people think of SPs as the best artists, they are completely wrong. They're not. And remember also, though, they have third slot NI, which means when they are successful as artists, it's because they've attained success on their third slot function and gotten the payoff that they feel for that. So just as I get payoff when shit resonates universally, on FE grounds, in other words, when it makes me look good and smart and more correct than other people and stuff like that, they feel a great deal of satisfaction when they finally get something that is melodically a clear identity, a clear and distinct identity. See, the thing here at Fate Wind is successful music has a clear and distinct identity as an entity separate from the person who made it. And that's why we have to go universalist. Now, don't forget, remember, sometimes things that are personal and particulars can work sort of accidentally on a universal level beautifully. So you don't have to use. Okay, well, you don't understand what you're talking about, Fate Wind. I've had plenty of arguments with you. You've never been right yet. So, you know. And if you want to say, well, why is this so pokey rap so successful? I don't even know what that is, the pokey rap. Also, I will say this, Fate Wind, that remember that SE and NI are much more successful in the visual field, as the generalist says there. ISFPs can be excellent photographers, excellent painters, stuff like that. But that's very consistent with NI. You're trying to capture a third slot NI perfect moment kind of thing, you know? SI in music is, well, one way I can just draw a distinction is that as an SI DOM, you will have a small number of songs that you're very familiar with because you play them over and over again and get really good at them. Whereas I have a very large number of songs and can only actually play a few of them because I don't practice anything that I don't return to the things I've done before over and over again. No, I'm not typing the SP's strength using their weak functions. It is not true that SP's strength is art. That's simply a misconception and a falsehood. That's simply false. To the extent that they are good at art, it's with visual stuff. And it's because they've attained on their third slot function. I disagree with the fundamental principle that SPs, ISFPs, whatever, ESTPs, ISTPs, ESFPs, that they're good at art. That's simply fucking wrong. Okay, well, you can say that if you want, Fate Wind, but you're wrong. So it's like when I sit down to do music stuff, most of the time, almost all of the time, I'm going to be making new stuff. Then Scott Weiland and Dean DeLeo from STP are both NJs, and they're great artists. I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm not sure. INTJs can be great artists. Listen, the thing is this, though. INTJs are much more likely to be successful at making music that is like scoring a movie, like Jeremy's an INTJ, because then they're being told, make music that expresses meh, right? That goes along with meh. And so they don't have to decide what their music is supposed to do. Drake is a very successful ESXP artist, right? And so this is great. Thank you for bringing him up, Jake Hurwitz. This explains exactly what I'm talking about. If you think Drake is better than Kendrick Lamar, then you have bad taste in music. And Kendrick Lamar is an INFJ and Drake's an ESTP. Probably FP, maybe. Who knows? Drake's terrible. He's incredibly successful. That's true. He is incredibly successful, but terrible too. So that's all there is to it. Now, it is the case that lots of people don't have sufficiently good taste in shit that they can be fooled by cues of goodness that are misleading. No, Drake is not an NJ, Fate Wind. No, he's not. Kendrick Lamar is. Drake's an ESXP. That's why he doesn't even write his own raps. Kendrick Lamar is an INFJ. Possibly an ENFJ, but I think an INFJ. So if you think Drake is better than Kendrick Lamar, you're wrong and proving my point. If you think Drake's an NJ, you're double wrong, and nobody should listen to anything you say about anything about type. Because he's abundantly obviously not an NJ. But a rapper with a ghostwriter? What the fuck happened? I'm mad, but I ain't stressed. True friends. Game, set, match. No, Drake's not an ENFJ. I wasn't saying Drake's Andy could be an ENFJ. I was saying Kendrick Lamar could be an ENFJ, but I think he's an INFJ. But Drake is definitely an ESXP. Okay, you bet I'm wrong. I'll bet you're right. I mean, I'll bet I'm right. You bet you're wrong. You bet I'm wrong. I'll bet I'm right. How much you want to bet? Yeah, he's on another level. My mama and my baby boo too. Yeah, it would be an expensive party. I bet you can't book Kendrick Lamar for a party. That's such an SXP thing, right? Hey, I'm gonna be opportunistic about this thing I've got going on. Might as well just cash in, just fucking meow. Okay. What if I'm right? You have to mail me a piece of your beard? Well, the thing is this, Steely Bob, it is not the case that so many people who are good at music are nerds that won't sell. The fact is, if you are really good at music, then it should garner an audience. If you're good enough, if your song is magically good, it will garner an audience no matter what you do. So obviously, the takeaway from this is I'm not good enough, not yet, but I'm continuing to try harder to get better and better and better. You know, and I do get a little bit better every day. For Lana Del Rey's ISFP shit music, but I love it. I'm not familiar with her music really. I've heard her name plenty. I know she's very, very famous. She's like Billie Eilish is another one. I'm not familiar with her music, but I've heard her name a lot. Hey Cam, you might be trading your generator for an e-bike? Wheel and motor obsession? I know, and so is Drake. He's absolutely terrible. I am not saying that the best music is going to be the most successful because people are good at understanding what's best. I'm saying that people will often be deceived and like things that don't have any staying power. We can tell what turns out to be good music because people still listen to it years from now. Who still listens to whatever Jessica Simpson single was number one when she was popular? Nobody. You know, who's going to listen to Drake in 10 years? Nobody. He's got nothing that stands the test of time. Has he successfully managed things other than music? Elements about music, success in the music industry that are not about actually the music to become very successful? Yes, he has. And good for him. I'm not trying to say he shouldn't be able to do that. That's what ESXPs do, after all. Now, if you're talking about SI and NI in music, SI music, here's an example of SI music in terms of the lyrics, right? If we could turn back time to the good old days when our mom would put us to sleep, then now she's stressed out. That one, you know, he's talking about SI shit. If I could bottle the smell of childhood and blah, 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 you know? Those are very SI lyrics. That guy's an NESI user. He is not an NI user. So if you're talking about 21 Pilots is an any probably TI, but possibly FI band, okay? So that's SI kind of lyrics. Now, you won't find INFJs spending much time on SI kind of lyrics, and you won't find ENFJs spending hardly any time on SI lyrics. So, it's possible. The reason I don't think Benjamin was INTJ is his TI is not good enough. That's not fifth slot TI. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the thing is, with Rachel, I was unclear. I typed her as ENFJ, but I said I'm not entirely sure. I probably didn't spend enough time on the SI. The thing is, with Benjamin, his results were, I should have tested his SI more. You're right. And it's also the case that he gave me a very ENTJ-ish response to the SI questions, which is they don't even attempt them at first. They dismiss the question as pointless and silly. Why would anybody need to do that? He gave me that kind of a thing. Whereas Rachel, I think, tried to answer them or something. I don't remember Rachel typing very well, but it's I don't know. I don't believe in FI and FE are both energy functions, according to sociology. I think it's just a nonsense term, like masculine and feminine functions. I was watching a bit of Benjamin Sadek's live stream with Taylor and Brian yesterday. They were talking about masculine and feminine functions and how Taylor and Brian are different because he has masculine SE and he has feminine SE, and it was just such a bunch of gobbledygook. There's no clear distinction. It's not clear whether this is a taxonomical distinction or an actual. No, FI and FE, they don't evoke. There are ways of paying attention. If I am attending to my own feelings on something, in other words, if I'm like this morning, I woke up this morning and I was attending to my own SI and actually my own FI a little bit. I got up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I had about 8 hours of sleep. My TI was saying, okay, that's enough sleep. That's 8 hours. You're good. You should be good to go down. It just takes me out of roll and go. But I felt sad and I felt tired still. And okay, well, this is why it calls for my expression of how we talk, my taxonomy of how we talk about functions. So first of all, remember, when we're talking about these functions in isolation, we are limited because they always occur in a specific slot and they express in a certain way, okay? We can talk about them in terms of the values they correlate with, or how, in other words, they tend to have normative qualities associated with them, or normative metrics associated with them, I guess you'd say. We can talk about them in terms of how they correlate with behaviors. We can talk about them in terms of how they link to skills. We can do a push response kind of an interface test where I give you certain kinds of questions and say, this people who have function meow and slots meow or meow are going to respond more like meow. That'd be a process analysis. Or we can do, I have a piece of paper where I've written this written all down on. There's one more that I'm not remembering at the moment. Where's that piece of paper? Oh, right. Or we can do a slot analysis, And as far as the composite or what does that say? Sketch. The composite sketch kind of approach, if you're talking about the function itself as a composite sketch, then you're going to talk about you're going to engage fundamentally in a reification fallacy. Remember that the functions aren't independent of you. They are how you be. No, paying attention is the top level description. Everything else we might say about FE or FI needs to be something about how they pay attention. or how one pays attention when using those functions. So the thing is, what I'm saying is, if you're making music and you're using FI, let's say, then for me, I do that sometimes. I'm feeling a lot, and I'm expressing it in song form, and it is absolutely true. I don't know about One Republic. I didn't say anything about One Republic. I just said about 21 Pilots. I'm not sure about the One Republic thing. I don't know. It's absolutely true that FI, that for music to be successful, it generally engages other people's FI. And it's absolutely true that melody, the identity of melody, links to feelings a lot. That's true. But the question of whether or not what you're feeling now and your expression of it musically is resonant on a broader scale is not an FI question. So it's true that when I generate a very successful melody, it's going to be very evocative of emotion, and it's going to link to FI a lot. But note, I don't need to use FI to make that. Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Yeah, that's very FI lyrics. Or maybe F. It's F lyrics. I mean, that seems like it's communicative. It's saying, look, put yourself in my shoes. In that sense, it's appealing to an FI kind of approach. Put yourself in my shoes. But I would say a more FI song is like, here's the best example of NESI-FI music. I'll tell you the very best example of FI NESI music. This is what it sounds like when it's done properly. Anything off this album, Blue by Joni Mitchell. This is the pinnacle of FI NESI. It is not, it sort of bumblefucks its way into NI, okay? But it gets there, but it's extremely particularist to Joni Mitchell, and yet it works universally. So it's not impossible for FI, SI, NE to make great stuff. It's not impossible for that to work. But remember, almost everything else Joni Mitchell made was garbage. The Grateful Dead, NE, SI, and FI. And just basically insane amount of hours of just countless hours of wasted time and crap and garbage of noodling to people who had to get incredibly drugged out to enjoy it because it was so fucking self-indulgent. I don't know if Jerry Garcia was an INFP. I just don't know that the Grateful Dead didn't do anything worthwhile. That's why everybody had to be on so many drugs to enjoy it. You know? No, I think it's garbage because it is garbage. It's self-indulgent noodling. It tries to say, what matters here is your experience of this music live. It's like a jam band or something. And what doesn't matter is whether we've written any songs with a clear identity, any songs that are meaningful as an expression of NI. You know, that's FI. I mean, that's SE more. It's more like SEFI, where you know what you want to do, which is just jam out and noodle randomly, and you have endless amount of energy to do it. That's SEFI. Now, note, it doesn't always fail. Like I said, look at Joni Mitchell Blue. That's F-I-N-E-S-I. And it doesn't matter how F-I there is. It takes some time to it's F-I, it's too particular, as Can Krishna Prabhu. You're not gonna like Joni Mitchell because you're an INFJ, and you're gonna say this is too particularist. It requires you to invest some SI into that album. You've got to listen to it a few times. It doesn't immediately work. That might have something to do with the Joni Mitchell album too, for me, David Grand M. But note that interestingly, the only things that I've retained from my childhood are good things. Like if you actually Google about this album, Joni Mitchell Blue, all the critics agree that it's her best album. It's the only album of hers that I got into and brought with me from adolescence. And it's unlike anything else I got into or whatever. It just tells me that I had good taste then too. Same with my dad used to play all kinds of fucking garbage for me in the car because he still listens to whatever kind of like complicated, TE jazz. And it's just like, oh, but he listened to some good things. One album that he had that we listened to in the car was Donald Fagen's The Nightfly. I retained that from childhood. I listen to it still today. And when you Google it, as I did recently as an adult, I discover, oh shit, all the critics go, that album is sneaky genius. Wow. So why did I take the things away from childhood that I did take away? Because I am very powerfully intuitive. I get what's good. I was very powerfully intuitive back then too. Even when it was in a very underdeveloped, immature form, I could tell what was good. And I was right. I didn't know what the critics said until recently, I mean, Steely Dan is another example of a band that is successful despite being N-E-T-I-S-E-S-I. They're successful despite it. Note. So for people who don't like Steely Dan and go like, it's just like this weird jazz fusion-y shit, self-indulgent, they're right in general, but they've missed the boat on Steely Dan. Steely Dan is the one band that does do it well. Well, that's a very FI position of yours, Fate Blend. You just disagree. We just agree to disagree. And that's fine because you're an FI user. It's not okay with me, but that's fine. Right. Gang Krishna Sarmapuru has a point here. Eric, I think I like songs that become like a statement that will last and resonate for a long time and decades more to come. If you get sick of a song relatively quickly, it's not a very good song. It's too NI. Is it possible to be too NI? Absolutely. Let me think of a good example. Who Let the Dogs Out? It's too NI. My humps, my lovely lady humps. That song is too NI. It's too NI. I mean, the best songs, you cannot play them to death. You may be like, okay, I'll put that song aside for a while now. I've listened to it a lot. Yes, I think Joni Mitchell's an INFP. No, Fate Wind, you're just talking out your ass. Are any Polar songs too NI? No, I think that ENFJs make songs sometimes that are too NI, but not always, As long as too NI, it's too familiar and or too singular in what it is, and it doesn't do enough different things. For example, I was saying to Rachel yesterday about the song Stacy's Mom by Fountains of Wayne. Stacy's mom, Scott. Let me get the lyrics and I'll remember the tune. But let me put the link to this too, this song. This is a good song, and it's called A Good Song Never Dies. It's very clever indeed. All All right, so this is A Good Song Never Dies by Saint Motel. But let me talk about this Stacy's Mom point that I'm going to be making here. Stacy's mom. All right, so let's talk about this song here, Stacy's Mom. Can I come over after school? We can hang around by the Did your mom get back from the business trip? Okay, so this part, right? Give me the slip. I'm not where I used to be. I'm grown up now, can't you see? Stacy's mom has got it going on. She's all I want, and I've waited for so long. Stacy, can't you see that you're not the girl for me? It's that bit right there. That's the only thing, that's the thing that makes this song work. In fact, the chords here, they can't tell what chord it is. They haven't figured out what it is. I guess it's that. Stacy, can't you see that you're not the girl for me? Not the, yeah, C. Okay. See, can't you see that you're not the girl for me? Not the girl for me. I know I might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's mom. So it's that C right there. The one C in this thing. So it goes A, E, B, C sharp minor, A, E, B, C sharp minor, A, E, C, C sharp minor. And it's that one little change in the chorus that makes the whole song work. If you just, the beginning part's too familiar. It's too, unless the song does something to capitalize on the familiarity of the beginning part, it's just, it doesn't do enough to move anybody. Can I come over after school? It's too familiar. You can hang around by the pool. Unless it does something more interesting. I don't remember exactly how that part goes. I think it's the same, man. If there's something on it, you're trying to give me the slip. So obviously, you can only have not that much of the song that's that, because you're gonna get tired of that pretty quick. It's not doing anything especially exciting. It's kind of pleasantly familiar, and you're ready for the song to do something to make you go, okay, I like this song. And the chorus, it immediately starts to satisfy because it goes where it's supposed to go. The pre-chorus is great. It's a transition into it, I'm not I used to be. I'm grown up now, can't you see? Stacy's mom has got it going on. All I want, and I've waited for so long. Stacy, can't you see that you're not the girl for me? I know it might be wrong, but I'm in love with Stacy's. So it's like, this song shows you a song that is almost 2 NI. If it didn't have that C in it, if it went to G sharp 7 again, or if it went to B instead of C, it wouldn't do enough different stuff for the whole thing to work. It needs that one little meow in there, right? To make it different enough that's where the NE comes in. That's the NE, is putting that C in there instead of another G sharp 7 or a B, which would go there fine, but wouldn't give it that weird, what's it doing moment, which it needs. So if you want to talk about music with me, be prepared to understand that I am extremely invested intellectually in the intuition part. It's like it's not just intuition for me because I'm ignoring an eye. Maybe I think the fuck out of it, and I have lots of examples to demonstrate what I'm talking about. And whether or not there are so many SFP popular musicians, that has something to do with the fact that becoming successful requires one of the things that's facilitated by one thing that can facilitate becoming successful is low neuroticism. Intuitives are highly neurotic. And the thing is, one of the things that continues to just amaze me is how incredibly right Rachel is about music. How incredibly right she is. I've never met, well, except for Corey. What, Stacey's mom? First of all, I don't know if that person's an ENFP or not. You thought Drake was an NJ. So, I mean, if you think Drake's an NJ, I have no faith in your typing of whoever wrote that song. I'm not. It is quite possible that song was made by an ENFP. It is possible. But note, the lyrics are not FI. That's not, and unless it's based on an actual experience of his, they aren't SI. The lyrics are FE, and the reason it's successful is because of it successfully attaining an NI whole. Look at the songs by the band Fastball. Fastball has two good songs. They've got The Way and Out of My Mind. Okay? They've got two good songs. Those two good songs are NI triumphs. But there's not an intuitive anywhere near that band. And we can tell that because if I listen to just those two songs of Fastball, I might go, wow, this must be either an NFJ or I don't know. This is genius. But if you listen to that's it. That's all they were ever able to do that worked. Nothing else they've made that I can tell is any good at all. It's all failed attempts. Those two songs attain greatness, and they will last forever. They will be part of karaoke forever. Nothing else in their catalog will ever be listened to by anybody once they're gone. Drake is not an ENFJ. Drake is an ESXP and a terrible, terrible, terrible musical artist. When do you think everything's FI? So just whatever. You're just trolling at this point. Tremonti, I don't know what Tremonti is. I think particular decades were particularly heavy on certain functions and other decades. No, I think that Easy Season says Drake kills it in the clubs. Okay, but none of his music will be listened to 20 years from now. Nobody's going to go like, when 20 years from now, Beatles songs will still be coming on the DJ will still be putting Beatles songs on periodically. Or people will listen to the Beatles still. Rachel is 35 years old. She was born in 1985. She loves the Beatles. Why? Well, because a lot of their shit's genuinely good and stands the test of time. Look, I don't say he's an ESFP necessarily. It could be ESTP. I don't know. I think he's an ESXP. So the thing is, why do people love the Beatles? It's because their songs stand the test of time. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And there have been plenty of bands at the same time that nobody listens to. And then but I could sing you a song from, lots of bands. There are lots of one-hit wonders. What is a one-hit wonder? A one-hit wonder is just an expression of the reality I'm talking about right now. Individuals attempt always to have something that really comes together as a true, complete entity of a thing. So, somebody does that, then they're immortal forever. Their song is. It'll last forever. It doesn't matter if they ever did anything else that had any quality at all. So, the song, Imagine You and Me and Me and You. We're going ba-bum, ba-do-do-do, ba-da-da-da-do-do-do, ba-dee-da-dee, ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-do-do-do-do-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. Yeah, they didn't ever do anything other than that song, right? Now, I don't necessarily love that song exactly, but I acknowledge that it is one of those songs that is what I'm talking about. It hits. It's an entity that is clear as day. For everybody who's familiar with that song, that entity has moved into their identity and said, I'm part of you now. Who remembers any Milli Vanilli songs? Who can sing any Milli Vanilli songs? Nobody can. But you can remember the Turtles. Nope, you can't remember anything by the Turtles except that song, because they nailed it one time and they made this timeless thing that will be heard forever. It's NI. It works. It's NIFE. To me, it's too much NI. That's why I don't really love it or whatever. But I still can't help but sing it. I still want to just go. It just sings itself, It sings itself. Here's an NI song. Here's a total NI song. Ready? This is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friends. Some people started singing it not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friends. Some people started singing it no matter what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that never ends. Yeah, that's any attaining NI. That's an NE user hitting an NI thing, Is Happy Birthday NI? I mean, I don't think so particularly. I don't know why Happy Birthday became the Happy Birthday song, because it's not a very good song. I mean, but I will point out though, King Christian Star, that I think is an example of an NE user who hits NI. I have a song that I sing. I have little songs that I sing for certain circumstances. There's When It's Cold in the Car. Happy Birthday, The Generalist. I will do so in a second. When I'm in the car and it's cold, I usually sing, this is an SI thing. I repeat myself over and over again across time in the same context. I go, somebody turn on the heater 'cause I'm feeling oh so cold. That's my song that I made up to sing in the car when I'm cold and the heaters and I get in the car. I've been singing that song for a long time, Also, there's when it's time to go into the carpool lane, I have a song for that. This is an NI thing. Do these songs work as songs? No, because they're just little NI bits. Like the song that never ends is not really a song. It's just an NI bit, right? I have an NI bit for when I go into the carpool lane. We're gonna roll in the HUV, 'cause our vehicle of high occupancy. We're gonna roll in this vehicle with our 203. We're gonna stroll in the HOV in our vehicle of high occupancy. We gotta go in our car this evening. It's a vehicle full of 2 or 3. Gonna go in the HOV in a vehicle of high occupancy. Gonna stroll, gonna roll in a car you see. It's a car full down with 2 or 3. Something like I can't remember the exact lyrics to it, but I sing that, and even when I forget part of the lyrics to it, I just meow the meow and sing it anyway because the melody, right? The melody of that is an I. That's an NI thing, you know. What makes a song NI? It needs to have a clear, distinct identity and express that identity properly in the right amount of time without going too much of itself and while allowing itself to be fully realized. So if you want to see an example of introverted intuition that works across the board except on length, you just look at LCD Sound System. This is an example of NIFE that's working purely on an abstract, or this is a song that's made for ENTPs and INFJs. Okay, this song is called "You Wanted a Hit" by LCD Sound System. LCD Sound System is very NIFE. It's one of Rachel's favorite bands. And it's a band that I've come to appreciate a lot more being with Rachel because I never listened to them before Rachel, really. I knew a couple of their songs. The song is called "So You Wanted a Hit." You wanted a hit. But maybe we don't do hits. I try and try. It ends up feeling kind of wrong. You wanted it tough, but is it ever tough enough? No, nothing's ever tough enough until we hit the road. Yeah, you wanted it lush, but honestly, you must hush. No, honestly, you know too much, so leave us on our own. And you wanted a hit. Well, this is how we do hits. You wanted a hit, but that's not what we do. You wanted it real. But can you tell me what's real? There's light and sounds and stories. Music's just a part. It's 9 minutes long, okay? And it's the most NI successful 9-minute song I can imagine. Note, if you're making a 9-minute song, as a general rule, you need to take a serious check of yourself. You need to have a come to Jesus moment. If you're making a 6-minute song, you seriously need to have a come to Jesus moment. This is not appropriate. You are not doing this right. Okay, Mercury, Freddie Mercury, ENFJ. There's your ENFJ genius. He's and it's like Queen songs out of that era still get played. Still are popular. There's a lot of great Queen songs out there. There are a few good 6-minute plus songs in the world. A few. But the thing is this, there's INTJ, that the reason you think that is your third slot FI and your TE instead of FE. The reality is to have a good song that's that long is almost impossible. The proper length of a song is under 3 minutes. 3 minutes, sometimes even a little more than 3 minutes. My songs tend to be a little too short. It should be a little bit longer sometimes, and I'm not necessarily very good at arranging. But that's absolutely incorrect that there's a lot of good 6-minute plus songs. Name one. I mean, I just linked to one that's 9 minutes. Right, but we're not worried about your experience of the song, INTJ. We're talking about the song's quality independent of any individual listening to it. 3 days. By whom? Okay, we will find out if Desert INTJ has good taste in music right now. Let me mute this and I'll find out. Then She Did. Okay, let me listen to it. Jane's Addiction, 3 days. First of all, Jane's Addiction is not a good band. They're very inny, way too much inny. But it makes sense that you would like them because you're an INTJ. INTJs like a lot of extroverted intuition in their music. It's understandable, but a mistake. You gotta like it. You gotta like it only as a spice, not as the main flavor of the meal. You know. Let me listen to this song though. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so sorry, Desert INTJ. I am so sorry. I mean, I don't have words enough to express how terrible that is. I don't have words enough to express how self-indulgent and insulting it is to the listener. It is absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. No, you have to remove that link. Why would you remove that link? Just because I think something's horrible doesn't mean I don't want to have it linked to. Okay, Desert INTJ. Yeah, well, we definitely disagree here. We definitely disagree. The thing is, the difference is I have a clear understanding of what makes something good and a clear definition of what makes something good, or at least clear enough as best I can. And that thing requires so much of the listener's patience. It's not about being ADHD. It's about respecting the listener and respecting the listener's time. Does your song have a point? Does it have an identity? Does it need to express what it is and in the right amount of time, and then present itself and say, "There you go," and let the listener do its job? Or is it going to require the listener to do a whole bunch of work? In this instance, Seeley Bob, let me explain something about objectivity and subjectivity when it comes to art and music. Okay, what I'm saying is objectively true, but I cannot establish it objectively because it's holistic or synergistic, and it's not something I can prove. It's not reducible via TI. Rachel points out that most people who don't like the Beatles have a slow start on understanding good music. For sure. If you don't like the Beatles, you're off to a bad start. Fenty Deluxe demonstrates FI by disagreeing and thinking that the Beatles aren't that good, which means, I don't know. All right. Curious Kyra points out a good distinction. Songs are a specific form of music. Pieces of music refer to others that don't exhibit a song form. That is absolutely true. So it is important to distinguish between songs and tracks. Generally, I'm talking about tracks, good tracks, because the only way that when we're talking about songs, we can determine whether or not a song's good by playing it. You know, in general, the best songs play well, voice and instrument, because they have, what they are. The thing that makes them work is implicit to what it is, rather than some tricks of production. But it's also the case that production matters a lot, because most of the time when I'm experiencing music, I'm experiencing recordings of music. I'm not playing the song. Like I was just playing Stacy's Mom. That's a good way to analyze a song, because you can, isolate little parts of it and say, see, this is what they're doing as a songwriter here. I make both songs and tracks. So I've got some songs or some tracks that are just tracks, and some tracks that are songs that I've recorded. And I write songs in different ways. So, thank you for pointing that out, Curious Kyra. So, right. No, look, can't get Chris Simon Pagoo. It's fine to have some SI or FI attachments. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, the art of time is music. Correct. No, I don't want simple pop. This is what I was talking about with Stacey's mom. It is absolutely possible, and plenty of things fail to be inadequately. Things can be inadequately differentiated. There's as I've been listening to a ton of random music, trying to find things good enough to make my Chappy Tracks playlist, which I will share with everybody. I've really been doing a lot of thinking and stuff about this, and there are some things that I like that I like for personal memory reasons, and not really much else. Although they tend to not to last very long, if it's not good. But let me see if I can think of an example. Okay, so it's really hard to think of an example, actually. I don't really like any music that just because it's from my past. If the reason it persisted to now from my past is because it was good. So I don't know. I try not to allow myself to deceive myself about anything. If I was wrong by saying, this isn't a good song, I correct and update, whether it's my own or anybody or anything else. I always try to be exactly right about it and ignore what I feel, because what you feel in the moment can interfere with your intuition. If I'm paying attention to how I feel right now about things unrelated to the music, then that's not going to be useful. What am I looking for again? Oh, this playlist. That's all. I'm just going to get you the link to the playlist. All right, here's the Chappy Tracks playlist for those who want to. Now, Billy Joel is great. Billy Joel is something that Rachel and I have talked about a lot too. Billy Joel writes a ton of brilliant songs, and it's weird how he seems to always be forgotten when one thinks about like significant artists. But Billy Joel has written a number of really just genius songs. Save the Chappy Tracks and play it loud in your car. Composition is important. And the Beatles also note that they are a combination of an any tool user, I think, in John Lennon. I think he's an NFP. Could be a dominant any. And an ENFJ and Paul McCartney. So you've got NE and NI coming together. Yeah, I mean, when people continue to like a song they're familiar with, even though it's bad, and like it more as more familiar they get, they're probably an SI user, and probably an SI DOM even. So, I mean, for the time, Swift Eagle, the Beatles' compositions were uncomparably great. There wasn't anything else that was anything had ever been that successful musically. They basically invented the genre of pop songwriting. I love Ragtime too. I don't listen to it, but now I'm going to today. Curious Kyra, you make me want to listen to it. So you play the piano, Kyra, or what? I play a little bit of piano. I'm not very good at it. Kyra, you seem to know what you're talking about. The thing is, I don't like Paul McCartney's voice, and some of Paul McCartney's shit gets a little too NI. Like Yesterday, right? Yesterday's an extraordinarily NI song, NIFE song. I saw something. Now, here's something else I want to say about music. Generally speaking, I will listen to a little bit of Billie Eilish. I've heard a lot about her. I haven't really checked her out yet. I will. I've been checking out a lot of new music, so I'll get around to it. It's like Yesterday is such a NI Pia that even Paul McCartney was interviewed about it. He said when I first came up with it, I couldn't believe it wasn't already a song. That's N.I. That is N.I. right there. When you have something that you can't believe is not already a song. Boom. Well, Curious Kyra, I'd be interested in having you link. Do you have anything online that I could listen to? And would you like to link to it? If so, I will make you a moderator temporarily so that you can put that link. As far as Beatles songs go, I like a lot of them. I tend to like their earliest albums less, a little bit, but all right, then I will make you a moderator so you can put a link for us. I want to check it out. I'm addicted to improvisation despite being categorized as a classical musician. Oh, it sounds like you got some extroverted intuition in the mix there. Taxman's a good song, for sure. What's the song I'm trying to think of here? It goes, Here Comes the Sun. They got so many good songs. Here Comes the Sun's really good. I'll put a link to it for anybody who wants to go in there. There's a room there. I write a lot of older Baroque style music, so I don't really use song forms at all. Cool. I'm interested in hearing it, regardless. I'm trying to think of my favorite Beatles songs. Let me look up a list of Beatles songs so I can decide which ones I actually like best. Let's see. I want a list of songs recorded by the Beatles. Here, Wikipedia. That's good. Okay. The benefit of Mr. Kite, there will be a show tonight. I always liked that song. When I'm 64, that was always one of my favorite Beatles songs when I was a kid. I'm fixing a hole where the rain came in and stopped my mind from wandering. I like let's see. Paperback Writer. I like that song a lot. I've just seen a face. I've just seen a face. I can't forget the time or place where we just met. She's just the girl for me, and I want all the world to see we've met. I'm falling. Yes, I'm falling. And she keeps calling me back again. That's a really good one. I like Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer came down upon her head. Bang, bang. That's a fun one. I like Norwegian Wood's a good song. Oh, Darling's a good song. Ah, darling, please believe me. I can't do you no harm. Believe me when I tell you. It's classic, right? It's a lot of these songs are sort of genre defining songs. She came in through the bathroom window. Great song. When I'm 64 is good, like I said. We're looking now, when I am 64. Chords and lyrics. Let's see how it plays. When I get older, losing my hair many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? If I've been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? You'll be okay too. And if you say the word, I would stay with you. I could be handy mending the fuse when your light's gone. You can knit a sweater by the fireside. Sunday mornings, go for a ride. Doing the garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? I mean, so it's so NI, right? It sings itself. NI shit sings itself, you know? A Rocky Raccoon. This is a very inny song by the Beatles. Very inny. McCartney acknowledged the style of the song is pastiche, saying, I was basically spoofing the song, the folk singer. Lennon attributed the song to McCartney, saying, couldn't you guess, would I have gone to all that trouble about Gideon's Bible and all that stuff? So that's McCartney trying to be NE, I guess. So, I mean, that's the thing. NI types understand songs as examples of archetypes in a way. And, you know, so for example, Rachel's really quite taken with this song. I guess it's A Good Song Never Dies. And one of the things she likes about it when she's listening to it is the way that the spy music part comes in. Well, the thing is, what makes it a spy music part? It's hard to explain exactly what makes it a spy music part, but it clearly is like a spy movie kind of sound, you know? That's what NI gets is you're putting this vibe on top of that vibe, and it works or it doesn't, you know? A pastiche is, I had to look it up too, actually. So I'll look it up again. But specifically, it's usually used to refer to a visual art form. But let me Google it again. An artistic work in a style that imitates that of another work, artist, or period. In other words, if something alludes to sort of an archetype within music, then it may or may not be a pastiche. Spy scenes usually transition to a through a wormhole sound. Well, the like listen to the song Boogie by Brockhaven, and the background thing and the beat going. Let me listen to it so I can remember it. That song Boogie by Brockhampton. Let me look it up here. So it's like the thing about this beat, I'm gonna listen to it for 1 second, is it completely expresses a certain kind of urgency, and it's very archetypal in that regard. The beat in the background, and then the rapping stuff is all structured to work well with that same kind of urgency. Let me listen to it for a second. I'll come right back and talk about it more.
Ooh, it's easy pipe.
I would say that the basic mood of that beat is, "Watch out, motherfuckers! Here we come." It's like that's the basic mood of that beat. Oh, it's on now, motherfuckers!
Yeah,
it's like it's before a fight has started. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, we're hyped now. We're going."
It's true.
You said they said that. Yeah. We're going.
It's unfortunate that sometimes a long intro can totally kill a song, but that intro goes right to cuts right to the core of what the song's gonna hit you with. And it's fun.
Did Brockhampton make the Iridescence album? Because I like that one. I don't know. Is that a song or an album? Breaknecks on the chiropractor. Is that what he says? I'm not listening to the lyrics that much, I guess, or that well. But yeah, that's a jam, and it's like that's the magic of it, DM. That is the magic. So like, let me pull up another song I want to talk about for a second. Okay, so one thing that is the case is that by and large, generally speaking, musicianship or chops or TE stuff, ability to do complicated, difficult things, does not link well to quality. In other words, being able to do more chops like things actually tends to, if you indulge in that, tends to hurt the quality of the music, not help it. But I'm going to give you an example now of a band that successfully executes musical chops. Okay, here it is. I'll get the link. I'm going to mute for a second. Now you might say that song's boring because it doesn't really do much. It's just this bass player just kicking all kinds of ass. But I don't know. I like it because it doesn't do much, but it's such a thing, you know. There's one other thing I wanted to talk about musicianship. I listened to this thing yesterday, and it made me weep because let's see if I can find the one. This one, yeah, okay. It's interesting because I didn't look up this thing, but watching somebody perform this piece, this is a different performance of it. But watching somebody perform this piece yesterday made me just absolutely weep because it was, as I said to Rachel after it, she's like, I didn't like that. I'm like, I don't like it either exactly. It's like it's not really a likable piece of music, but it moved me so much simply because it speaks of how
Can you go back to what it said she was singing?
Go back to what she was saying?
Yeah, it said performed a piece written for a soprano.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was from Les Miserables. Like,
no. This is what I was saying yesterday. Remember, I was speculating about this piece? I said it was probably written for a specific soprano.
Oh, yes, you did say
I didn't research anything about it, but the aria performed by the Doll of Olympia in Offenbach's opera Les Contes de Hoffmann is arguably the most difficult piece ever written for soprano.
Yeah, you said that.
I also said something like that. How can anybody do this thing?
You know that, yeah.
And this is just speculation for me. Actually, I didn't read anything about it until right now. All you need to know is the storyteller Hoffman is challenged to tell 3 great love stories, and one of them involves a doll named Olympia. Olympia is a wind-up doll, and she only has the one aria during the opera. But wow, what an aria! And it's when I heard this chick basically nail it yesterday when I was watching it. It made me cry because I thought the scope of achievement that human beings have within their grasp is astonishing. How can any human being sing this song is beyond me. You got to listen to it. They say the most difficult piece ever written for a soprano. I believe it. I think I can get. I think I can get away with this one. Maybe. Hopefully, we'll see if it's copyrighted or not. It's classical music. The piece can't be. Its piece has got to be in the public domain.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be able to distinguish this recording of it or not.
They don't do recording. Oh, I learned that if you speed it up or if you speed it down, technically the tempo has been like it's actually a different song then, so that you can use it. Like, what is that vocal range? That is stuff. That is like, and then can it go all the way up?
Oh, what?
You know when athletes go on and they have the rubber guard for their teeth? I'm thinking about investing in one.
Good idea. Okay, so what are you saying, Zayn Black? I don't understand what you're saying. What is it you want me to do?
Christmas opera. Order of the Yeah, his human voice doesn't go like that.
Who can sing that?
Not me. Ooh, you look like you're loud. Did I give you enough cuddles this morning?
Mm-hmm.
I like morning cuddles. What is this play about?
What are those mermaids doing?
What's I'm talking about? It looks like she has a crush on a guy who has 2 mermaids surrounded by him. So I'm wondering what it's about.
I've got a crush on the mermaid guys. Okay. What is that thing? Meowity meow.
Allergies. They're an allergy. What a mess. That's what they were for her?
This is extroverted intuition and extroverted thinking. This is written by an ESTJ. That garbage was written by an ESTJ. I can tell you right now. That complete garbage that you just went through there was written by an ESTJ. It had to be. Or maybe an ENTJ. But I don't think so. No, it has to be ESTJ. It's third slot NE and dominant TE.
I noticed that ENTJs like to have pianos in their house. Yeah.
What do you think of the music in Naruto?
I like it.
Rachel and I have talked about it a lot. It's very much part of the storytelling.
It is.
Every different kind of scene has a certain song that goes with it, and you can know what's happening by just listening to the song. You know, it's like there's the song that they play when like they're planning. You know, do I have a favorite Naruto music?
Ding, 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 ding.
I can't even think of it right now. I can't hear it in my head.
No, I can't. Only 2 parts. I think that's Deliberation. And it'll be like, no. Ha 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 ha. You are not going to understand my plan.
I will say, as far as the theme songs, DM go, the theme songs I like. You are my friend. Me 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 me. Me 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 me. You are my friend. Wah 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 wah. The distance. Thanks, Starling. You're so beautiful. When ESTJ listening to a song written by an NI user say it sounds like a no, ESTJs don't think that there's any difference between good music and bad.
Yeah. My mom, ESTJ, does not like the Beatles. Genuinely, like, if she were to choose to have a list on of bands that she does not like, Beatles is on them.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think Snoop Dogg's and SFP, one of the two.
Yeah,
ESFP
he is.
probably.
Yeah, probably. He's just way laid back.
Yeah. You know, it's
And
like
mine,
he's a good
3.
he's a good rapping stylist, but he's not good with the words really.
So what would you say Iggy is then? She's really
Iggy's an
good.
ENTP.
Iggy Azalea.
I think so.
No wonder her love life is such a crap.
I think Iggy
And no
Azalea's
wonder
an
she,
EHP.
she in the other song that I showed you, she's in the back. Is about her fighting another girl.
She's an EHP who's doing like what Eminem does, which is portray a
Yeah.
STP character as a
She
rapper.
She does.
And of course, the EHPs don't know whether that's who they are or not.
You're explaining a lot because she has a lot of problems in her love relationships, as in like people. She gives a lot of love, and it seems like she doesn't choose the right guys, or like
Who's behind my meow?
they cheat on their stuff, and then she goes back with them. She's very relationship focused. She does give off an ESTP vibe only when she has to. Like, I think that Angelina Jolie may be an ESTP, and she gives out that vibe. I think Meryl Streep is an ESTP too, and a really, really good one of an aged ESTP.
I'm not saying necessarily Neptune that Iggy Azalea is good. There's a lot of EHPs who make bad music. Although I do like some of Iggy Azalea's stuff, but remember, just because I say somebody's an EHP doesn't mean I think they're good. There's a lot of bad EHP making bad music out there, you know?
Yeah.
It's easy for EHPs to fail on a number of metrics. Like look at the Bloodhound Gang, or whatever it's called. He's taken something that has a lot of, like, musically, it's got a lot of NI to it.
Yeah.
And he's used that as a palette for his goofy scatological humor.
Sure.
You know, do I kind of want to like pat him on the back and say, good job? Yes, I do, because it's like he successfully made it doing that. Wow, good job. You know, great. Well, okay, David Grant M. What does it mean to give off an ESP or any other type of vibe? What that means, when I use that expression, it means this is not somebody I've typed, but I am just basing my typing of them here on my gut, rather than any reasons I can defend. In other words, I'm using the expression he gives us an ESP vibe. I'm saying I can't make any defensible arguments that he's an ESTP and win those arguments because I never typed the guy. I don't have enough. Yeah. I mean, it's not poorly constructed in the music. You may say it's poorly constructed as a persona beyond the music, but within the music, she's executing it quite well. What am I looking at? Oh, did you put a link to something else? Let me see. Yeah, did he? It's great. I like classical music. It's I mean, I think Fox probably an intuitive dom. I'm not sure which. It's hard to say. I think that slap a beat on top of that, and you got yourself a rap song for sure. It's great. I like it a lot. I will. Maybe I will sample it. You can sample classical music. Why not? It's great. That stuff's, I understand the way that classical music has a almost unique ability to manifest itself both at the experiential and archetypal level concurrently. Not of the new album. Not of the new album. That's INFP Disaster Time is what that is. Or maybe ENTP. I'm not sure. She might be an ENTP, ENFP, INFP, INTP. I'm not sure. She's one of those four, okay? But it is what happens. Oh, then you are wrong, Ninfa Estrada. You are wrong. That is what happens when you let extroverted intuition take the wheel. I was told to check it out, that it was going to be good. I like a lot of her old stuff, or some of her old stuff. A couple of her hits are fucking fantastic. Criminal and Paper Bag, great songs. When her first album came out, it's one of the albums that I think of as being one of those like game-changing albums. There's that one. The Marshall Mathers LP is another one. It's like a game changer. Another album that came out that's just like, wow, this is like the Nirvana album. Never mind, when that came out, that's a game changing album. So the first Fiona Apple album was a game changer like that. It was that good. It was one of a few albums I can think of that put in that class, like with Marshall Mathers LP. Yeah, a few others.
She was up for like Grammy of the Year, I believe, with that album.
But then with her new album,
Oh my God.
What did she do?
She
indulged at the expense of all of us. What do I think of Frank Zappa stuff? Absolute fucking garbage. ENFP. He's got to be. Or maybe ENTP, but done totally wrong, Like same with George Carlin. ENTP gone bad. That's not how you do it, George Carlin. You're being cheap and easy and stupid. I don't like it.
A lot of people think he's an FP, George Carlin.
Okay, well, maybe he is.
He could be.
Maybe that's why I don't like Frank Zappa or George Carlin, because they're both ENFPs and they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't listened to the Idler Wheel, Neptune. We not call yourself Brandon. I keep wanting to call you Brandon. Your name's Neptune, for fuck's sake. I'd have to listen to that one. I don't know.
What is?
He's saying that the album that she released before this one was better.
Who?
Fiona album. Apple.
Oh, maybe it had one good song on it. That's not.
What, the one from
good.
before? He's talking about this one called Idler Wheel. Have you heard it?
Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's talking about an album we haven't heard.
Oh, no. I actually think I may know. Okay, so she came up with that one late 98, like late 90s, early 2000. And then she came out with one around like 2006, maybe 2003 that I listened to, and it had one good song off of it. It was like Once My Lover, Twice My Friend, something like that. And then I tried to look for other songs like on more recent albums, and they just weren't good.
No, she's fighting her NI. You can tell she's fighting it. I can hear her compositional struggles in the recent album. I can hear how she's fighting against where shit naturally goes in order to make it weirder or harder or like darker or something. I think Kanye's an ENFJ. But he could be an INFJ. But I don't think so. He's an ENFJ. No, he's not an INFJ. He's way too extroverted to be an INFJ. He's got to be an ENFJ.
Yeah.
So what Winston's mom here says about Frank Zappa can be said about everything that's too extrovertedly intuitive. I could find nothing in his music to enjoy or grab onto. Exactly. Extroverted intuition doesn't give you something to enjoy or grab onto. It's supposed to be spice. It's supposed to be that little surprising delight that makes this different from the norm. It's not supposed to be the engine of songwriting at all.
Yeah, everyone uses spice. Well, I hate when they do like a 10-minute guitar solo. Oh God. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but still, even 2 minutes seems like it's just like forever.
Yeah, I mean, the job of the artist is to allow the music to continue to require the person to listen to it.
Yes.
It's like continue to delight me at every moment throughout the whole thing, either by being what I know you are and you're familiar and constant, or by deviating in delightful and surprising ways from that.
Yeah.
One good song that's pretty long, Van Morrison, Madame George. One good song that's pretty long that's good. I mean, I like some songs that are on the longer side that are by Steely Dan. Babylon Sisters is a pretty long song.
It is. That's forgotten.
But
They do, but you don't feel it.
yeah, you don't feel it, and that's the thing is if the song's done right, it has that much to say and keep you engaged the whole time.
Yeah.
However, like there's a new Steely Dan song that I also like a lot called Everything Must Go, but it begins with a 45-second long saxophone solo.
See, that sucks. So why? That's he likes that instrument. Wants to give it more credit, and he thinks it's getting. So he adds his own. That's something. That's a vanity.
David Grand M. I want to talk about this a little bit. And can't stand songs that are repetitive in lyrics, lacks creativity. Okay, so the thing is, all of these things are things that have to be balanced perfectly. You need enough repetition in the song lyrics and in the parts for it to have a clear and distinct identity.
Yeah.
Some deck of the Starship Enterprise that begins and ends every episode of Star Trek, right?
Yes.
You need that. And so what you want in a song is you do want parts that are the same because that's what you're deviating from and what you're returning to. And
Also,
the part that's the same should be very, very pleasing. That's your hook or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You want to have a hook. So if it's the same throughout the song, it's more likely to get stuck in your head. Da 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 da. See, that's repeated in the song like
all the time. Yeah, that song "Awkward" is very NI in the sense that it runs the risk of you getting sick of it, but it's structured such that you never quite do, and in fact, it works beautifully. I made you a moderator. Neptune, link me to one song from that album that you think I'd like best, and let me listen to it. Okay.
Brandon, are you a girl?
No, it's Neptune. He's a dude who lives in Virginia, New York, or something.
I was wondering because I saw him in the rooms one time, and he had like a smile, a woman's smile.
He's a homosexual.
Oh, there you go.
That's why homosexuals have less clearly defined expressions of masculinity. In general, or is that too much of a generalization, Neptune?
It was like it looked like she had like dolphin teeth. It was like very strange.
Eric, this is a stupid question, but I trust you. Joseph has a video on ISTJ. Do you think that's okay? Yes, I think it's okay that he has video.
Yeah.
But you think it's okay to watch? I think you should watch it if you want to, and see what you think about it. Yeah, if it makes any sense, then good for him. Too much. Okay, I'm going to mute and listen to this song now.
Two.
No. Here's the thing. It's smartly put together in some sense, or like it's avoiding certain kinds of big mistakes. But okay, question mark. I'll make an ISTJ video. Is that what you're trying to get at? Just go right out and say it. But good strategy there. That's working. It's working on me. Okay, first of all, the singer is trying to avoid defining the melody line, which is something that you do when you are NI scared, when you're NI shy. I used to be NI shy a long time ago. When I was a little kid, I would write songs. I was NI shy. But I got over that, you know. Yeah, that's not going to work, Brandon. Now you're Brandon. You're not Neptune anymore. You're reduced to Brandon.
Neptune.
You find me a snappier song than that, mister. I want something that makes me snap my fingers and get up and tap my feet.
Call Me Maybe.
Hmm?
I think Call Me Maybe may be the snappy song ever written.
I mean, it's as NIFE as you can possibly get.
Yeah. With Annie in there too, because she tells a story. It's like, it paints a picture. I think any music paints pictures. Like Ben Folds, he's always talking about, I saw you left a note, and then he'll talk about what it says in the note.
Blow the Whistle by Too Short. Okay, I will Google that.
Where has my lighter gone? Oh, there it is.
When it needed to do something, it didn't. When it needed to blow up, it just sped up a little bit or something, It's like right until where I stopped it there, it was working, and then when it got to the blow the whistle part, and you realize that's like all the chorus there is or something, it needed to do something more. Then it just became too much the same thing of what it was all the time.
I put that song, Is That All There Is, on my spring playlist on Spotify, because like your dad mentioned Peggy Lee.
I
had no idea how long that song is. That's a song long, so that would be short and be really good, but it's long. It's pleasant.
Yeah, this is great. It's the composition is by Scott Joplin, the most famous ragtime composer.
Ragtime. Did you ever see that play? Okay. It's one of my favorites. Why do you call it ragtime?
I don't know. Because there are rags.
They were in rags when they were writing it.
I'm not sure. I have no idea. Here's a ragtime song that I wrote, sort of ragtimey, I guess. I don't know what you call it.
It is ragtime. Oh my gosh, you're the music man and you're
Russ and Steven delight to delivering cheese every day. And you're not a very good piano player. Russ and Cheddar, American and Swiss too. I'm not a very good piano player. And it's not a very good recording.
Great.
But the thing is, when I play that song successfully, it's fun to play. I love playing the piano. It's fun. I got a piano here inside the house.
I hope you continue it because it's a good song. It's a really good song.
I just need to get that song's about cheese. It's Russ and Steven delight in delivering cheese every day. And the dairy where they work ensures and the dairy that employs them ensures they earn quite reasonable pay. Russ has cheddar, American and Swiss too. He'll give them all to you. Steven oversees from his desk easily. He oversees the cheese. And then in the chorus goes, let's see if I can get the chorus up from that song I just said. Yeah. Let me open the chorus.
It's really good.
So this is the chorus of it.
Yeah.
I'm Steven, a couple of guys. Russ and Steven are a couple of guys. Work at the dairy from 9 to 5. Russ and Steven think they've arrived. Anyway, I can't play it very well on the piano. Yeah. It's got two vocal parts that counterpoint.
It's so good.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I've always been a fan of your music.
You're a wonderful, wonderful lady.
I wonder if The Music Man is about an INFJ ENTP romance.
If what is?
The Music Man, the play and the movie.
I'm familiar with the basic plot of it, but I may have seen it. I'm not sure.
The guy scams towns.
Yeah, he scams them, right?
Yeah, with fake bands for all the kids to stay out of trouble during the summer. And he gives them all these things, and then he meets an I think she's he meets a librarian who's kind of like, she's an actual musician, and his sister's not getting any lessons out of the music man, so she questions him. And he's like, "How dare you question my methods?" And I like it. I think it's a good one out of musicals. Miss Man.
Word.
It's an ENTP. He uses his words to get out of things a lot. Yeah.
We will do that.
Okay.
I think this might be, as far as straight up songwriting goes, I really think this is probably the most successful song, composition, track, etc. that I've made, because I think it's the one that most comes together as a complete songwriting piece that I've also recorded well. But I think basically it's my best. I've got this, or the other song that may be my best songwriting song is Satchel of Helpful Goods. It's one of those two. And this is What's the Big Problem I just put there. And this is my best track or recording. But it's a song that I recorded, but as far as, I think it's my most completely successful recording. Oh, he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate blaming. You blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you refraining for him, straining for him. Going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Yeah, you guys both have lots invested. That's not a reason to stay around.
Yeah, this is a very relatable
Through
video.
the years,
I can
both
picture
been
it. It's another
tested.
visual one for me. It's like I can picture the party, so I'm telling that. I'd be being like, well, like, what do you expect? What's the big deal?
So he came here with her, and what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate blaming to blame him on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you refraining for him, straining for him. Going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Be done with him. So I made that a little bit more than a year ago, and no, I didn't slow it down. The destruction of the whole damn world. Thank you, Jake Hurwitz, for mentioning that. It's a one of my favorites as well. The thing
There's
is,
a lot of good ones.
the thing is, the lyrics are best on what's the big problem, and lyrics are a problem for me because I tend to write too many words, and it's like writing for a song is different than writing in some other context, and it can be difficult to constrain myself adequately, or I'm learning still is what it boils down to. Destruction of the Whole Damn World, though, is definitely one of my best tracks and songs also. It's a song I like to play a lot. Agave Weatherman is an example of a song that I like it.
I think it's NI pop, really.
I think
most people like it.
Yeah, I mean, people seem to like that song a lot.
I like it a lot. That's one that caught my ear pretty early on. I think. Yeah, it was one of the first when you and Spacey were singing it out and wherever you were.
Yeah, it helped when I had him singing with me on that. But the thing is, that song, I see it as like a great example of the thing I'm trying not to do so much, which is like, I don't like how many words it has. But for a song that has too many words, I couldn't have done that thing having too many words any better, Yeah. So it's like it's a mixed feeling for me.
Okay.
Is what it boils down to. Whereas that song we just listened to, that has exactly the right amount of words.
I hear you.
It's telling exactly the right amount of story.
Advancement, right?
I made this before I made Agave Weatherman. And the thing is, I'm not very steady in my progress. In fact, I'm very disjointed. I'll go jiggity jaggedy. So I'll make a song that's this way, and then I'll try to do something different than that, being an NE user. And I'll try to make songs like this instead.
I really like the Once Upon a Time, Long Time Ago.
Yeah, that's a rap. That's I think my most successful rap song. I like that a lot too.
And I like that. Yeah. What's the matter?
This.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, I was a little kid walking out in the snow. Except there wasn't no snow here in Southern California. Too warm for snow, but I don't want to bore you with the weather. Whether or not you find it clever or boring or love it a lot, think it a pleasure or bore or lacking a plot, it's old, it's a chore. No, it's more. It hits super hot regardless. Let's not get too up and caught and laying out just exactly what it's not. Because land's not falling out of the cop. Back to the story, back to the top. Once upon a time, a long time ago, I
I was walking all around when time was slow.
I wasn't really walking because I rode my bike. If I wasn't doing that, then in a car ride where I stay inside, apply myself, describe magic scissors. Because my God was a wizard, fighters were lame. Wizard whose spells put fighters to shame. But let's not mistakes make his name again, Jane. We're out of my lane. And Jane went and I fell off the cop. Back to the top.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, middle school loomed there before my toe, and nobody knew then what now they know. Isolated in an envelope, blocked all the flow of intuition.
Shut down, see what instruction build.
Regardless, I just thought best I'd go ahead and return to the plot. The foregoing undecided is not as relevant as it seems. Even so, I wanted to do his team. Say the time frame might contextualize things a lot, like the context box. But these girls, once upon a time, a long time ago, I was a little kid walking out in the snow. Except there wasn't no snow here in Southern California. Too warm for snow, but I don't want to worry with the weather. Whether or not you find it clever or boring or love it a lot, think it a pleasure or bore or like in a plot, it's old, it's a chore. No, it's more. It's super hot regardless. Let's not get too up and caught and laying out just exactly what it's not. Because laying's not falling out of the cop. Back to the story, back to the top.
And even at 1 minute and 50 seconds, it's almost too long. Right? So, and that's, it's like, as a general rule, Sam Smith, lost your virginity to right said Fred. I'm so sorry. So, there on this greatest hits thing, I have this constructed to be a 16-song album. The first 16 songs of it is an album, but that's the only rap song that makes the cut. So, if my best song was done a little over a year ago, February 19 is when I posted it. What's the Big Problem? My most recent song is an example of something that I probably rushed up too quick. I need to go take it down and rework it in certain spots and make it better and then put it back up because I have a problem with that. I don't tend to know when I need to be patient. I rush shit out, This is Stupid and Scared, my newest song that, like I said, it's good, but it fails to pop completely because I need to work on it some more.
God damn it, we were promised a plane. Bodies in the street. Oh yeah, back the crew. Not overburdened healthcare, sir. But you see, it's been underburdened. Gee, got this going. And so exaggerated, we have been lied to. Fooled, misguided. Directed to the wrong side. Your cherry picking art is not going to work. You don't know your stats. Your data gathering methodologies are crap. Listen here, if you only just the sickest, what do you think is gonna be the new trick? COVID-19 destroy everything for the impression you bring. COVID-19 destroy everything for the impression you bring.
Okay, right here. Okay, so there needs to be something between the chorus and that post-chorus thing there. It shouldn't go straight into that. No, it's stance. That's what it's meant to say, is stance. The person making the argument doesn't know the stance that they're arguing. In other words, they aren't even aware that their statistics gathering methodologies are crap. Well, I know what you're talking about, Jay Koretz, but I'm telling you, it's meant to be stance. You don't know your stance then I would have used the word stats twice. In the same little bit of time, and that wouldn't be good. No, I don't think Kanye's an ENFP. I think Kanye's an ENFJ. Kanye's not smart enough to be an ENFP. But he's very intuitive, you know? Oh, it's not modality. No, you're talking about Agave Weatherman, Winston's mom. You thought the word modernity in Agave Weatherman was maternity. It says, in the Agave Weatherman, it goes, what does it say? Oh. Oh, well, the truth is, actually, Jake Hurwitz, one of the problems with that song is all of the lyrics are freestyled. I didn't write anything in that song. You know, I just started doing vocal stuff and then just, well, this is good enough. And any stupidity guy, you know, I'm an any stupid guy. I'm always an any stupid guy. I'm always fighting against it. It's always hard to force myself to slow down and write and don't just meow the meow. Because my gut instinct is to, for anything that, any little piece of it, because I'm trying to get the whole together, is, well, just meow the meow so that you can have something to sit there so you can get the whole together. Not understanding that the whole is comprised of all of the meow meows that I've made. And if all the meow meows I made are all meow meows, then the whole is not going to be any good. You understand what I'm saying? I think so. So I listened to it and then wrote down what I thought I said. I assume I was saying. I'm not, in some sections when, maybe I will put a small guitar interlude in there. I kind of think it needs some sort of like pre-bridge or pre-post chorus bridge verse or something. Pre-post chorus verse bridge verse. Meadity. I tend to think it has a DI maybe in there. I'm not sure how it's spelled. I can speak the language, but I don't read or write it. The language of meow.
It's a lovely spring day.
Did you know that I'm a native speaker in the language of meow, but I don't know how to read or write it. I'm illiterate, so I can't tell this person how to spell meadity meow.
You know who you sound like right now?
Who?
An Italian mother who has a recipe and gives it along, but hides one piece of the recipe because it's only hers.
God, why does mine taste so different than Grandma's? You just don't know how to make it right, I guess.
That's such a good hee.
I'm about ready to wrap this up. Because I want to do something else that's also very important today, then besides just only this.
What?
Not sure yet. You're saying this can't be the only important thing today.
You're right.
Remember, every single thing I do is important. It becomes important because I did it, even if it wasn't important before that. It should be the same for you as well, by the way.
For me?
No, for the viewing audience. You is what you wish, but
Thank you.
you know.
It's pretty ingenious for you to use the water hose as a bowl hitter.
Thanks. It
How's
was
working?
not that well because I did something dumb too. That we have to get a new bong. We're just gonna have to get a new bong, or I need at least a new one of those metal things for the green bong.
The other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I get a new metal thing.
Yeah, you can get that for easy, cheaper thing.
If we just have to
Just
find some place that sells it, open. God, stop COVIDing, world. The world's COVIDing has got to stop. I'm done with the COVID shit. I'm just fucking done with it. I said from the beginning.
You woke up that today saying that.
I told everybody at the very beginning, this is fucking stupid. Nobody listened to me. And here I am, proof completely 100 million% right, and everyone's still trying to spin it as though this was the right thing to do.
Smart, babe.
Pisses me off.
It should piss you off.
Mm-hmm. It makes me want to go hold up a sign saying, hey, COVID fucks, knock it off.
No, it's not right.
I saw in the gas station store yesterday, they had this, I saw it through the window because I was standing outside. They won't let you go inside of it anymore. And a sign up that showed your risk of infection. And what it showed was one person who had little lines around him representing infected, and the other guy not infected. They showed infected guy, right, very close to unaffected guy, and they said, risk of infection very high. Then they showed infected guy very close to unaffected guy, but an unaffected guy having a mask on. It said high. Then they showed infected guy with a mask on and unaffected guy with no mask on. It said high. And then anyway, the point is, what it says on that chart was if you have social distancing that is 6 feet away, both parties wearing masks, even if one person is infected, chances of infection are very low. So why don't we apply that to every place? Why is it only applied to some places and the other places aren't able to do anything? It's ridiculous. Why is any place closed right now? Not a single fucking place to be closed except for maybe a nursing home. And that's it.
Yeah.
We need to let this shit run its course. Everybody just get it already and let's get it over with. So there you go.
You've been having to say that.
Yeah, I mean, look, people die. People get diseases. People get sick.
And they get old.
And they get old. So just go ahead and get COVID. Get it over with.
Your dad feels the same way.
Ridiculous. Goodbye.
I love you.
I love you too.